have stuff like all messed up.
Yeah.
You have stuff like where you normally don't have stuff.
I've got stuff where I normally don't have stuff.
Yeah, I'm all confused now.
You should be confused. I switched up the screen.
I'm always confused.
I switched up the screen, and now I've confused all the people sitting here except for me.
That would be me.
That would be you. Hello, everybody. And who's that? What in the world? Where did that come from?
The Jewel. He's the tiniest little Grinch stuffed animal I've ever seen. Isn't he adorable?
That's amazing.
He reminds me of you.
Wow. Man, oh man, right from the
nice
beginning.
Grinch when his heart grows too sizes too large.
I see how it's going now.
Because he's got a beard.
Welcome everybody. Hope you are doing awesome. We are here. We are live because it's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on a Wednesday evening.
You got it.
Hope you are having a great day. Thank you so much for being here. We do have an announcement thing to make, right? So we're going to be doing that. By the way, just want to make sure y'all can hear us and see us, right? Because for some reason, the thing's not coming through. So in addition to, the whole thing, this thing's not really working well. So let's see here. Let me see if I can make sure. So somebody give me a thing here in the little comments that we can hear us.
I can see.
All right, well, go ahead and play us on the volume. Yes, all good. All right, thank you so much. I'm used to somebody saying,
Matthew says good.
So you know why? Because the very first stream we ever did was a mess, right? And it did this thing, and that will forever freak me out because we did an entire stream. If you ever want to be really annoyed, just watch the first stream we ever did where the audio wasn't good, the video was horrible. Remember, it was like they had this horrible lag. Yeah. So that scarred me for life. So anyway, thanks for being here. Glad you're here. You are the most awesome people on the face of the earth. And this is a really fun time for us on a Wednesday evening. We look forward to this, hanging out with all of our cool people. So we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. And there are not one, not two, but three things that we want to talk about. Wow. And the one big thing, we're going to hold off on that big thing for a few minutes, I think, just so that all the people come in so we don't hear like an hour. What was the big thing? Did I miss the big thing? What was the thing that's happening this week? So we'll do that one in a few minutes, a little later after all the people, all the tardy people roll in. Mm-hmm. But we do have some things to talk about, things that happened this week. So things that happened this week. This is the week of your life. Monday, we did the video on the replacements. That was what I think is going to be a first in what is going to turn out to be a series. Yeah. We talked about some fish that are sometimes challenging to keep and some alternatives. And as we asked for suggestions, I think we probably got 24 suggestions. We're like, duh, this video could have been 3 times longer. Not that it necessarily needed to be, but there's definitely going to be a part 2 and 3 to that at some point in the future because there's a lot of fish that can be difficult and there's a lot of good replacements that y'all suggested. So that's pretty cool. Your video today, I was pretty impressed with the scape that you did. So
especially since I ran out of rock, but I remedied that situation yesterday.
Oh boy, that's great. So did it come from the store or from another tank?
Came from the store,
all right,
but others will come from other tanks.
That's least batter when it comes from the store and not from one of my tanks that I've already gotten used to. Yeah. So on the small scape, your channel, it's a 5-gallon scape, right?
Yeah, it's a 5-gallon.
I really like that scape. It's one of my more favorite ones that you've done so far.
It's nice to have inhabitants back in there and not very much duckweed, so I'm going to have to stay on top of that duckweed.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Joe Williams said the funniest thing today, yuckweed.
Yuckweed, yeah.
Isn't that funny?
I don't know. Some of our fish, some of our African cichlids don't call it yuckweed. They call it food.
It's salad. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't have any of those fish that like to eat it.
We should try that, like a duckweed salad. I wonder what happened. Don't do that because I don't think it's for human consumption. You probably get sick. It's probably like eating like your yard or something like that. It'd be horrible. The other thing that is coming out tomorrow for members, you are going to see, I did a big order, a decent order, and picked up some new fish, so you get to see those in the fish room tomorrow. Friday's video we'll get to in a moment, and then Saturday you've got this little cool hack sort of thing going on.
It's not a hack.
All right, it's a tip.
Oh, this is an insider tip that I cannot wait. So excited to do the video. You have no idea. So I hope I'm not talking it up too much, but it deserves to be talked up, and you're going to be so excited.
I'm excited because I haven't actually
You should
even
be.
looked at the footage yet.
You
So
should.
I'm sure it's going to be great. One of the announcements that we wanted to make tonight on the live stream, you're wearing the announcement. So
I
can you
am.
show everybody, kind of lean back and show everybody what you're wearing? We did a very limited run on this, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very limited Christmas shirt run.
Should've brought one.
Well, you're wearing it so everybody can see.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, look there.
I can't see
everybody-
because you moved the
I know,
where
I
usually
moved
look.
all the stuff around. But yeah, so we've got this thing, primetimeaquatics.com. If you wanted to check that out, they are there. Like I said, once they're gone, they're gone. So we're just doing a small run, limited run, in case you want to express your Christmas spirit, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
And you designed the whole thing. Well, that was pretty cool.
I did.
So that
Yay.
was what you designed on the way home from
On
Dallas?
the way to Dallas.
On the way to Dallas, yeah.
Yes.
And you had to put all those little snowflakes in yourself. That was pretty funny.
I know.
Yeah.
Snowflakes.
Now I know
sparkles.
what. At least you were doing
Yippee.
something useful when I was basically on like a 5-hour stretch or a 6-hour stretch of basically driving around by myself.
Yeah.
Right? That was.
I told you if I got my face in the phone, I'm working.
Yeah, that's true.
I was
Usually
working.
working on watching a YouTube video or a movie.
That was on the way back.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So, yeah, that was one of the announcements. So those are very limited run. Like I said, once they're gone, they're gone. We're not going to reorder. So at least because, it wouldn't make any sense to reorder after Christmas time anyway. So, yeah, so that's one. The second thing is just a reminder, we are going to be at the OCA, Ohio Cichlid Association Extravaganza this weekend. So we will be there Friday. So it's a 3-day thing. Mm-hmm. It's Friday evening. It's all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And we talked about this last week. I'm not going to go over all the details. Check out the Ohio Cichlid Association website. I think it's like OhioCichlidAssociation.com or something like that.
OhioCichlid.com.
OhioCichlid.com. And you can click on the little extravaganza thing, and it will show you all the stuff that you will need to know. And then in December, like I said, the 12th is the swap. Now, for those of you who are in the Midwest and are like, man, I'd really like to go to the GCCA swap, gcca.net, we will post the fish that we are bringing sometime early in the week for pre-order, because a lot of people ask, hey, how do we guarantee that the fish that we want are going to be there, especially if they're traveling from out of state, which happens frequently. And so the way we've solved that is we will put fish on the website that you can pre-order, prepay, and then they will just be there for you to pick up and ready to go. So that will be sometime around, like I said, the Monday or Tuesday. The swap is December the 12th. So that would probably be sometime around the 6th or 7th or so. That will pop up on the website if you are going to be in the area. It'd be pretty cool to see you. So that's those things. So we got a few things rolling in here that want to make sure we address before not too long. Scrolling around, the thing just jumped on me, as it always does. Fish Fan 20-gallon long member for not 1, not 2, not even 5, but 6 months.
Wow.
Months.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's half a year.
Thanks for being here.
Yay.
I'm not nervous now to start my venture into setting up my aquarium thanks to you. I'll be setting it up in 2 weeks. Guess what size aquarium? It's got to be a 10-gallon. I mean, if you put 2 10-gallons together, you basically got something. If you put 2 10-gallons together, you got a 20 longer. I just made that up. Isn't that great? Because the 10 gallons, when you put them together, they would actually be 40 inches instead of 30, and so they'd be longer than a 20 long. It'd be a 20 longer. Yep, I'm full of jokes tonight. So, yeah, that's going to be cool. Can't wait to see your 20 longer. That's going to be awesome. Bruce, thanks for becoming a primetime partner / primate / primetimer. Glad you are here. So that's pretty cool. I see lots of snowflakes and things in the chat already. That's awesome.
Hey, pretty soon I'll have to decorate behind us for Christmas.
Oh yeah, remember last year you did that last year, but you had a bigger canvas last year because we had the whole wall. I
have these pesky tanks in the way.
Yeah, I know, right?
So they're gonna have to get in on the action, I think.
Fish Tank Barn is here. Mike, how you doing? Thanks for the super chat. Looking forward to the OCA. Your pre-ordering system for swaps is highly recommended. The Cyprichromis that I got from you in August have fry. That's awesome. So that's cool. That's good to hear. Thank you very much. Yeah, Mike's going to be there too. Fish Tank Barn. Kasha from Creative Pet Keeping is going to be there.
Yeah.
Big Rich, Ohio Fish Rescue is going to be there. And there might be a few other YouTubers who stop by that haven't committed, so I don't want to just plaster all over the world saying, oh, they're going to be here, and then something happens where they can't make it. But those are the people I know 100% for sure. And you're going to be there. Right? The small scape is going to be there. So, woo-hoo. And we do have a place set aside. So we'll have a booth / table. I don't know. They kind of move things around, so I'm not quite sure where we're going to be.
I'm excited. I've never been there.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Sounds like utter craziness.
It's utter craziness. That is for sure. Wendy says 20 gallon, 20 longer, grown. It's a dad joke.
Dad humor.
It's how I roll. I know.
Yeah.
I never said I was good at comedy. That's why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Glitch Aquatics. I picked up a set of 10 bristlenose to start a breeding project. If you have bent spines, should I put them in other tanks and not breed them? Yeah, I would definitely put them aside, put them somewhere else. Like you, if they're living their life and they're not really hampered by the little bit of bent spine stuff, I'm not gonna cull them necessarily, but I'm certainly not going to allow them to breed. So yeah, I would put them aside. We've got a Neolamprologus brevis. It's a shell dweller, and this thing, if you looked at it, you'd say, oh, the fish has got bloat or something. It's something wrong with it. Well, it has lived its entire life, and now it's been a number of years where it's just like a little go-go guy, and it just swims kind of like face down, and it kind of waddles. But it's been a perfectly happy little fish for like 3 or 4 years. Now, I don't let the thing breed with other fish, with other brevis, but it's lived its life pretty well. So, yeah. All right, let me see here. Let me answer a couple questions, and then I promise we're going to get into the big announcement. Marlon, I just got a 20-gallon high. I want to scape it full of live plants and river stone. I want to do 9 ember tetras, 1 honey gourami, and 6 pygmy cories.
Sounds like a blast.
I think that's a pretty good plan. So 9 ember tetras, those are really pretty. The honey gourami is awesome. 6 pygmy cories, I think you've got a wonderful potential aquarium there. If you're going to be doing any kind of algae control, then maybe you'll do, I don't know, it depends on your water parameters. If you've got softer water, you could do, 8 to 10 otocinclus in a 20-gallon in addition to those fish. If you have slightly harder water, you could put in 3 or 4 mystery snails. Sometimes I'll do a bristlenose pleco in a 20-gallon high, but you could do something cool. So I see you like the orange theme, right, with the embers and the honey gourami. You could do a super red bristlenose that gets a real deep orange, but there's a lot of them. The long fins are pretty cool too, if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Master Aquatics, just call me Eduardo. Member for 4 months. That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Jason and Joanna, wait, hold on. What does this say?
He's just... All right, you want to borrow these?
Xmas reminder from Rico Stan?
Oh.
Is that what that says? My eyes are getting worse by the week.
Christmas reminder from Rico Stan. Yeah. What's the reminder?
What's the reminder? Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Rico Stan, how you doing, man, if you're there? Let's see here. Dave B. Any hints to get beyond the brown diatom phase? 20-gallon planted tank is completing 2 months of nudum. Cleanup crew of 6 snails, 4 Amano shrimp, weekly 20% water change. Yeah, that's pretty common at the beginning. You said you have 6 snails, 4 Amano shrimp. The Amano shrimp aren't going to do much, especially if the stuff's on the glass. I would say just keep an eye on your nitrates. Keep an eye on the amount of light that is going into the tank and the duration. So usually I see that a little bit, but I also often add a lot of bristlenose plecos to tanks. Not a lot in a single tank, but in a
just pile them in.
Just here's a 20-gallon. I'll go ahead and throw 40 bristlenose. We'll see if that algae has a chance. I find the bristlenose plecos do a great job on that stuff, especially on the glass. But the big things are obviously controlling nitrates, controlling the amount of light that's going in there. You said planted tank. So those are the 2 main things that I would look at. Okay, I think we are at a point where we probably can talk about the big thing that's coming up. And here's an interesting thing. Joanna, my beloved wife,
That would be me.
comes home from work with all frazzled because she walked in, maybe 45 minutes ago?
Yeah, about.
So 45 minutes ago, she's running in the door. And after mumbling a few things, getting mad because I didn't do the dishes today.
He never does. I'm at the office on Wednesdays.
I know, I felt bad. It's not that I never do. It's just that today I was editing a bunch of stuff and I forgot. And the dishes, it's just normal home stuff.
I wanted to check on my fish babies and I can barely see him with all the dishes. And he makes towers with the dishes.
He's
do. So bad.
I don't know why.
Who does that? Who towers dishes that can fall over and break?
They've never fallen over and
They could.
They've never fallen over and breaking.
A Corel bowl shatters worse than glass. Hey, can I get did anybody know that? You have Corel? Has a Corel dish ever fallen?
You know what? It's never fallen in one of my stacks because I make sure the dish stack is perfectly symmetrical. I am an artiste at that.
No.
I can stack dishes and I can stack stuff that needs to eventually go out to the garbage. So that one's more fun because if that one falls over, it's like, all right, well, you just got to pick stuff up off the floor, but nothing's going to break. So anyway.
So what was the point to all that?
That I have just to share our dirty dish laundry in front of everybody. That's
dirty dish laundry. That's a good one.
I know. I'm just full of it today.
Yeah, and then they forgot my Coke. I got picked up at McDonald's, and I was the only one who didn't get their Coca-Cola.
Oh, that's pretty sad.
Kind of sad. Yeah. But I do have my bubbly.
And I got my water.
Cheers.
For those of you who are baseball fans, my Chicago White Sox thing.
Yeah.
So there's like 5 of us Chicago White Sox fans out there, and I got one of the.
And that's
the
5 too many.
Hey, boy, oh boy,
Go Brewers.
It's a rough crowd here tonight. So anyway, she gets home, mumbles some things, says something about the dishes. I'm just piling in my food because we got to start this thing in a half hour.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to quote you almost.
Oh really?
Verbatim.
I'm curious because I never know.
She looks at me and she's like, "Something big is about to happen this week. What kind of title is that for a live stream?" I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Is it about the OCA?" I'm like,
I said,
"No." She's like, "The shirts?" She's like, "It's cool, but that's not really a big happening." I'm like, "No." So let me explain what the big thing is because apparently, I don't know, and hopefully, I think this is a big deal. It is a big deal. So here's the big happening starting this week. I don't think, in all seriousness, I don't think this has ever been done, at least in our genre. Would you say that's correct?
I would have to say so, yeah.
All right. So this thing that we're about to embark on, and it's not just us, it has never been done, is to the best of my knowledge, at least not to this extent, in the fish keeping community on YouTube. So let me give you a backstory. The backstory is Aquatics started in Orlando back in the day. So this was in June. And as most of you know, if you've ever gone to one of these things, it really is a fantastic time just to be able to hang out with a bunch of people who share the same hobby. And for us, it's interesting because not only do we meet other people, but we get to hang out with a lot of the other creators and everybody. And you spend a lot of time with them and get to know them, even more so than we have in the past. Mm-hmm. And so we've kind of built up this rapport and camaraderie and just friendship. I mean, we've made a lot of friends in going to these things and being part of Aquatics and back in the day Aquatic Experience and all these things. And it's fun because, after the show and everything and after whatever little dinner event that's going on, there's usually a group of us that will maximize our time, as we like to call it. We basically stay up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, just shooting the breeze, talking about fish, talking about YouTube, talking about just random life things. And there'll usually be a group of us just hanging out. And so that was, we did that in Florida. And by the time we got to Chicago, this idea is not, I didn't spark this thing. So John, KG Tropicals, calls me. He's like, "Hey, man, I have this idea." And I'm like, "What do you got, man?" And he's like, we've built up this community of content creators, and we've got a really nice camaraderie going. He's like, I want a way to bring us all together and do something together. And so we talked about it, and he's like, "Well, you know what I want to do is maybe we can do something where it's nice when viewers when they can get information from, they can watch their favorite channels and get questions answered. But wouldn't it be cool if we had a big chunk of the YouTube community answer questions on a single video? And so if you're looking for a certain subject, you might have a video where you've got the opinion not just of me, maybe not just of John or somebody else, but an entire group of people all approaching the question from a different angle, right? So different experiences, different focus in the hobby. And so we started talking about it more. We came up with some questions, and this thing has taken off in it's kind of got a life of its own. And so what we're going to be doing, and this is going to start on we're going to release our first video on Friday, and John KG Tropicals is going to release a video on Sunday, and there will be other YouTubers who release videos. And what we're doing is we're going to be taking topics that seem to get a lot of questions, right? So when we look at our channels, we constantly get these really important central types of questions to the YouTube hobby and to the fish keeping hobby, and we want to answer them, but we don't want it to just be us. We want it to be the larger YouTube community, and so we've basically got this big community together. When you say a lot of people are involved in this, it's going to be really cool. And again, what I like about it is the number of people that are contributing, and they really are. They're coming from very different, potentially very different aspects of fish keeping. This group that we have assembled, I feel like it's like the Avengers or something, right?
Yeah,
it's
just very fishy.
Right? Yeah. So we've assembled the fish keeping Avengers, although that's
like
not what we call it.
Underwater Avengers.
The Underwater Avengers. That's what we call ourselves. It's just kind of a thing.
You can use that if you want.
Yeah. Is that what Tony Stark said? We're the Avengers. That's what we call ourselves. So that's not what we're calling the series. The series is actually going to be called Simple Fish Keeping.
Oh.
And what we're doing there is, again, we're answering certain questions that are central to the fish keeping hobby. The group that we've assembled, and it's kind of crazy when you think about it, when you consider all of their social media followings, it's north of 6 million. 6 million subs / followers. So there are channels that are absolutely massive to channels that are smaller and up and coming, which is really exciting. I started thinking about some of the kind of the math and what this group entails. So not only does it have a big social media following, it's like, all right, well, how's that going to help me with fish keeping? Well, that technically doesn't. But what does is the fact that this group has literally set up thousands of fish tanks. They have kept tens of thousands of fish and probably bred just as many. So what you're getting is a big group full of a lot of experienced fish keepers that are going to be answering these questions in these videos that are going to be going out. And it is going to be absolutely awesome, in my opinion. Like I said, we release on Friday. And these videos, it's not just one video. There's going to be a series of videos. And so when you're watching them, you will see in the title, as part of the title, Simple Fish Keeping, and then there'll be a subject matter. And I just started editing the one for Friday, and I'm really excited. I am really excited because the group on that first video, it's funny because you expect, based on the people who are contributing, like, yeah, it should be pretty good. But then you see the talent, and you're like, wow, these guys are really good. This is going to be a fun video to release. And so there's going to be multiple videos. I know that I've got at least 3 that are going to be released over the next few months. John from KG Tropicals has his. And like I said, there's going to be some other channels that are also going to be releasing. We're going to try to make playlists and make sure that these videos are available to everyone. And so it's going to be a place where you can go not only to get answers from trusted sources, but to get multiple opinions within the same video. So you don't have to watch 12 videos at once. You can watch one video and say, okay, what does the group think about this? And get a dozen different opinions. And the other thing I like is it's going to be different in that it's almost people from all over the country, right? We've got like 3 or 4 different countries involved in this thing.
That's cool.
Which is pretty awesome. And the people who contribute can change over time, right? So the people that you see in the first video might not be all the same people you see in the second video and the third video and in John's videos and whoever else releases them, which means you're going to get even more opinions and things. So really excited about it. It's one of those projects that I've been more excited about that than most of the things that have happened in my YouTube world lately. So that's the big thing. Like I said, I hope you guys really enjoy it and really like it because it's been a lot of work. And thank you to everybody who contributed, who is on these videos, and for John, because he was obviously the central person in making sure that this happened. And it's been fun. It's been fun working with everybody, and it's going to be fun to get these videos out there and see, how many unique followers? Over 6 million. So it's a lot. And I was doing the math. I'm like, wow. And some of them, the followers, you get a lot of people or some of them have a lot of followers on Facebook or Instagram, and obviously a lot of YouTube subscribers as well. So it's going to be cool. Hopefully you enjoy it.
It'll be pretty sweet.
But you'll start seeing those videos come out, like I said, this weekend. So, yeah. All right. So that's the thing. Well, says, I wonder if George Farmer, MD Fish Tanks, Blake's Aquatics, and Keeping Fish Simple are involved. Like I said, the group that we have now is a big group. Definitely names you have heard of before, I promise you that. But it's not necessarily a stationary group. So it's not some closed off, just like Insiders Club. That's not what we want it to be. We've built community. And I think each channel involved has tried to build community. And we are trying to do that in this fish keeping niche, if you will, to the maximum extent possible. It's a big project, and I think it's going to be cool. All right, what else?
Got lots of choices here, like suggestions.
Oh, suggestions for what?
Aquatic Avengers, Aquavengers, Aquarium Legion.
Wow.
And then Fin Wiggles is even suggesting down to Cichlid Man, Nano Girl, Betta Boy.
Oh, no. So we're each going to have a name? Oh, I'm going to have to go back and change the labels. I don't know if the contributors would like that so much. Like this is, you normally know this person as, this particular person, but they will forever now be known as.
Give Surfa Design like a name like Betta Boy. Here you go. Well, I'm sorry, you're Betta Boy now. Yeah. That's the only one that's left.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, it's going to be cool.
That's too funny.
Let's see here. Big Guppy says, how would you submit a question to be answered? That is not something we have thought about yet. So if you have a question, I would suggest you can send it to me for right now. I mean, since you're watching our channel, you can certainly send questions via the probably on a video. Like if you comment on any of the videos, I'm like, hey, here's a question for the group. No new channel. That's what's so cool about this. It's not going to be a new channel to subscribe to because we're doing the videos on the existing channels. So like I said, we're going to be putting them out as Primetime Aquatics, but there's going to be a big group of people who contribute. John from KG Tropicals and anybody who's contributed can certainly put out a video and enlist the rest of the group for help answering questions. So it's not just a, me, John thing where we're the ones putting out the videos. Anybody's welcome to ask the questions and put videos out. So if your favorite subscribers are doing it, then it's going to be awesome. Let's see here.
Yeah, Finn's right. Tanner would be Moss Man.
Moss Man.
Yeah, you're right. That'd be perfect.
Shooting moss out of my hands.
You're right.
Let's see here. Mr. Fish says, do Von Rio Tetras make good tank mates for angelfish or no? Thanks. I've kept them with angelfish before. Here's the thing about the Von Rios, and I did a species profile on them, and I did a bad job of explaining this, or actually I didn't explain it, which means I did a bad job. There are two different types of Von Rios. There are the orange Von Rios, which are the Von Rios I used for the species profile, and then there are more like the wild-caught type Von Rios that I actually prefer. And they've got a little bit darker, almost red color to them, and a little bit of silver and a couple of black stripes. But either way, I think in terms of water parameters, in terms of them being large enough for angelfish, absolutely. Yeah, the Von Rios are wonderful fish. Get them in a big group, right? So the Von Rios, to me, we had them in the 55 gallon, and I like Von Rios when you get 12, 15, 20 of them. But I have mixed them with angels, not had any issues. I'm not saying you can't have issues. I'm not saying they wouldn't potentially fin nip, especially if you had a veil tail, but it just hasn't happened to us. So love Von Rio Tetras, one of my favorites. Let's see. Must all of the Aqua adventurers be bald and have a beard? Gosh, I hope not, because we've got some women involved in this thing, and I'm not sure that shaving their head and making them wear facial hair is going to be great for their, overall situation. So, yeah. Legend fish tanks. Hello, I have 12 multis in a 20-gallon, and I was wondering if I could add any other Tanganyikan fish. I wouldn't in a 20, because the 12 multis, as they grow from 12 to 15 to 20 multis in a 20 to 40 multis in a 20, they will start to move up off of the substrate and away from their shells sometimes, especially if you add a little bit of taller rock. They'll start to not only inhabit the lower part of the tank, but the midwater, and they get feisty when there are little babies down there. So I don't think a 20 is large enough to add anything. I think you're going to get the best experience. If you're just looking for the overall experience, I think the best experience that you can have is just keeping the multis in a 20 and let them do their community behavior thing, which is really cool. So I think when I'm considering adding tank mates to a multi-tank, I probably want at least a 40 breeder, but a 55 would be even better. And then I would be very selective. For me, I would do something like the Cyprichromis or the feather fins that just stay in the upper half of the tank. Even the rock dwellers, it's like, well, you could do that. And in a 4-foot tank, that's certainly possible, but then you've got to make sure that you divide up your tank. One side's got a bunch of rocks, the other side has more shells and open area. So this is Primetime Aquatics. You're putting stuff, you're here. You can just say things, right?
Well, if you're blabbering on, I sometimes
Mrs.
just
Primetime
like to
Aquatics says, hi, it's Shannon. Hello to Ryan as well.
Yeah, Shannon and Ryan.
She typed in.
Yeah, they say hi.
The chat. Why don't we just do that? Well, I'll just shut up and we'll just start typing in the chat, and it'll be some kind of a strange thing we got going on.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, I learned that from Lisa. Lisa during because she knows, she knows how it is because this is really your jam, and we're just kind of like on the outskirts sometimes, because I try not to interrupt you because I'm kind of that's hard to say, an interrupter, so I have to wait. I have to wait my turn, so sometimes I just
type away. Yeah. Okay, so what you got?
Kelly says, hey Joanna, if you haven't yet, could you please post a top 10 plant recommendations for 5-gallon, 10-gallon?
Ooh.
Could be a series. Yes, that one's on the docket. It might even have some other variations to that, but yes, that's coming.
That'll be a fun series.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun.
I'll be looking forward to that one.
And I'll even have a lot of plant recommendations for your 0.25 gallons too.
0.25 gallons.
Yeah.
I'll have a lot of plant recommendations for that little Dixie cup that you get sometimes. Like, what am I going to do with this Dixie cup? Plant it, of course.
Limited.
Yeah. Kelly D said you got to smash the like button. So just a daily reminder that
smash it.
Yeah, you got to crush that like button right in the face. That's just the way it has to be. So that's the story there. Okay, hold on.
Who else did I see here? Did you give a shout out to all our moderators?
I haven't yet. Wendy is gone, but thank you, Wendy, for being here. And Dave from Iowa and Finn Wiggles is here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
thanks all
hanging out and being the Blue Wrench. Appreciate it. You are the Blue Wrench. That's a fun name.
Sure is.
The Blue Wrench Squad. That's them. They wield power. They're like Thor. You guys are like Thor, only with a blue wrench.
It's got to be a better name. Finn, can you please come up with a better name?
All right. Well, she's coming up with a name for herself so yeah, she's allowed to. But Dave's got some say in that, and so does Wendy and some other people when they're here too. Killer Kitty 08. Will there be large group live streams with the big thing?
The big thing.
We are talking about all kinds of stuff. This is just the beginning. So the big thing, this series of videos that's coming out over the next 2 to 3 months, we're hoping this is just the beginning. This is just okay, how is this working? How can we maximize and leverage each other's strengths, right? That's what it's about, is as you talk to people at Aquashella and you really get to know them and get to know what their passions are and get to know what they're really excited about. It's a special thing. It really is. And so the next step is, okay, well, how do we leverage this and really bring something special to people who enjoy fish? And there's a lot of things we've been talking about. So yes, panels are one of the things that we've discussed. There's a million things. So nothing beyond the videos right now is set in stone, but things will happen.
I don't know where my brain is. Finn Wiggles already has it. The Mod Squad.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, that
rock on, Finn.
Yep. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and let's see, whip swirls in the house. Who could go for some flapjacks right now?
Flapjacks? Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Is there ever a time of the day where flapjacks aren't,
that would be
a
fun.
potential part of the diet?
Wouldn't that be fun to have like a weekend meetup somewhere lodgy at some point, and then we could have pizza
and flapjacks. Okay, at the same time? Pizza and then flapjacks for
different times during the day, but it would be centered around food.
It'd be centered around fish and food. Nice.
Yeah.
Marius says, "Hi all. Does Corydoras eat flakes?" Yeah, absolutely they do. So there's a couple things you have to consider. Yes, they absolutely eat flakes, and we feed a lot of fish flakes to our fish. Couple things though is once they get kind of soggy, so if they're the kind that tend to float a long time, but then eventually after they get waterlogged, they sink. Not quite as appetizing to the fish. The other thing to consider when it comes to flakes is that all the vitamin enrichment that happens with the flakes, sometimes that kind of spews into the water. I've seen studies where those vitamins, they can leave within less than a minute. So that's just something to consider when you're feeding your Cory cats, but they absolutely do eat flake food. Ours do all the time. The better thing is to try to feed them some small pellets, not the big ones, because that gets messy. Even if they do start to gnaw on the bigger pellets, they're just kind of spewing. You can just see the little pellet pieces going all over the place. But if you get some small size pellets, I know we do the Northfin Bug Pro, the Northfin, I think they're micro pellets, the smaller ones, and they absolutely love those things because those sink really fast. They eat them quick, and the nutrients stay within the food a little bit longer.
Okay. Marlon says, Primetime Aquatics went to Dollar Tree yesterday. What? Bought a turkey baster and super glue gel. 100% small scape style.
As long as you don't super glue the turkey baster to your fingers, you'd be like Edward Turkey Baster hands. And every time you try to wash your hands or something, you're squirting all the water and you're like, hello, and you're squirting stuff everywhere. Edward Turkey Baster hands would have a much harder time than Edward Scissor hands.
Finwiggles actually has a question. This is a good one too.
All right, here we go.
I've wondered that myself.
Oh boy.
All right, how do I clean the algae off my mystery snail shells? Can you scrub them like turtles?
That's a great question.
Like a little toothbrush, could you?
You'd have to be very gentle. Yeah. I've never actually attempted that. So that's a really great question. I suppose, but it'd have to be a very gentle brush, right? What do you call the brushes that are not the stiff brushes, but just the ones that are softer.
Like if you have a toothbrush and you're not scrubbing with it, you're just kind of like not brushing it, but just kind of if you keep on top of their shells,
So the other thing though I've found is that tends I think the snails that are eating the calcium chips that we put in have less of a chance of that happening. So just look at that part of it too. If you're doing the whole, feeding the calcium supplements, that might help reduce that because I think they get less like pits and grooves and stuff where the algae can kind of hang out. But sometimes the snails will take care of that stuff on the other snails too. It's like this whole, hey man, you've got a bunch of algae on your body. I'll just go ahead and take that for food.
LRB is here.
Yeah, I just saw Lucas is here. LRB Aquatics. What's up, my man?
What? Oh, I've got a video coming out pretty soon featuring one of your sweet plants, sir.
Yeah, he's got some cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's awesome that you're here, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Hey, Lucas, are you going to be, so if you're still here, are you going to the OCA this weekend since it's fairly close?
Right.
Are you going to be there?
Are you?
Are you going to be there at B Square?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Let's see here.
Oops.
What do we got?
Oh, yeah. What about a Q-tip? I was wondering about that, too.
Yeah, that would probably be a better option than any kind of a brush.
Could you put something on it?
Some really heavy solvent. I think that would
like
work
Windex.
Out.
I'm kidding.
Oh, my gosh.
I
was about to end this stream and be like, okay, we need to have we're going to have a private discussion. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Enjoy this commercial break. No, I would just...
sarcasm. You didn't get that?
I know you do. Ooh. We both do. Sometimes people take our... I don't know what happened. Like a couple weeks ago, we were doing the live stream and I got some comments. They were really mad at me funny. Mostly because I was being mean, I suppose.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I think some people don't understand. We're just a little weird.
Can you imagine if people were like flies on the wall of our house, because then, add our kids in who we taught well. We taught them the ways of sarcasm. Yeah, so when all of us have a conversation, probably would alarm some people, but it's just like we just think we're being funny all the time.
And apparently we're not. Yep.
Well,
Flood City Fish Keeper. What would cause pH to drop? I have 20 tanks. All are 7 to 7.5, but 3 of them drop to low 5s every couple days. They are all filtered different and stocked different. The number one thing is usually a low KH. All right, so low carbonate hardness. I would start there because you may just have something going on in those 3 tanks. So if you've got a low carbonate hardness, obviously your pH is not being buffered well. So it's got to be something with your KH. Could it be that you've got crazy amounts of plants in those 3 tanks and it's wreaking a little bit of havoc on your mineral content? Could it be that you've got a massive piece of driftwood in there combined with low KH? Could it be that those tanks are stocked a lot heavier, and so you're getting a lot more waste products? And so if your KH is on the lower side, you can actually, one of the things I talk about, I did a video, and this may actually help. In the science series, I talk about water hardness. There's only like 3 videos in that science series thing that I've done because I haven't gotten back to doing them again. But I do talk about water hardness in one of them. It might be the last one I did, where we actually talk about how carbonate hardness can be consumed. So that may be helpful to kind of troubleshoot what's going on there. But usually if your pH is dropping, it's because of a bioload thing, right? So it's either... And by the way, by bioload, I mean that stuff is either decaying, like you've got an excessive amount of driftwood, or there are a lot of plants, or maybe there's some food and stuff that's gotten kind of packed away somewhere, and it's hard to get at if those tanks are heavily, let's say that there's a lot of rock work or something in there. But that would be my guess. The other thing is, are you running like a bunch of CO2 in those tanks? Because that could be, or... if your KH is really low, do this. Test your pH in the morning when your lights go on, and test it again right before your lights go off, because it could also be something where your pH is doing this. One of the more interesting things I talk about in my classes, because I just find this so fascinating, is if you take a large pond, an outdoor pond, sometimes. So this is mostly predominant in ponds, but it could also happen in a fish tank that is extremely heavily planted. If you've got a really heavily planted tank and you've got a very low KH, usually this is more predominant because in a pond, you could wind up in a situation where you get a lot of algae. What can happen in these heavily planted or heavily algaed systems, if you will, is in the daytime when the lights are on, the plants are consuming CO2, releasing oxygen. That's a good situation. That's what you would hope for, right? And they're consuming all the the nitrates and stuff like that. So they're doing all that, and that's a great thing. You're like, oh, this is beautiful. But when the lights go off, I think what a lot of people overlook is plants and algae and cyanobacteria. They start doing the same things that we would do, and that is they consume the sugars that they have stored. And when they do that, they are no longer producing oxygen, but they're consuming it just like we do. And they are no longer using CO2, but they are releasing it into the water. The higher the CO2 concentrations get, the more likely you are to begin producing carbonic acid in the aquatic environment. And that can temporarily lower pH, especially if you have low buffering capability like a low KH. So it'd be interesting to see if your pH is stable and low, or if it fluctuates throughout that 24-hour period cycle. So yeah, that would be my series of thoughts, my random thoughts. Hi. What are you doing over there?
I already forgot. Did I say that LRB said he's not coming?
No, you didn't say that because I was talking for a long time. That stinks, dude. That's unacceptable. Going. You're at all the things. Yeah. Just go ahead, hop in the van, and just sneak out. You can do it. All right, I give you permission. Just sneak out of the house. It's just for one weekend and it's close. Nobody will know you're gone. Just leave Friday, come back Sunday. tell the family I got to go downstairs in the basement to do some things.
Oh my gosh.
And then come back in 3 days.
Yeah.
Right? Delta Charlie member for
What?
8 months. That's a hard word for me to say tonight. Months.
Yeah, months.
Months. Thank you so much. Woohoo. New milestone. Keep it up, you two.
Aww.
With the
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you
Nice.
being here. We'll try to keep it up, Fin Wiggles, with the #1 fan jumping, man. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Finn.
Glad you're here hanging out with us.
Somebody, I forget where the comment was, somebody suggested to put little tiny filters on top of the snails.
Well, now that would be interesting. Like a little tiny sponge filter, like with a suction cup right there.
Gosh, it's its own
It'd be like a little
filter.
choo-choo snail.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
so cute.
It would be cute. I'm sure they would really appreciate that too as they're trying to wander around the tank.
This is really funny.
All right.
This is cracking me up. All right, John Wood. Farmer Joe, you could be, that's what he calls me because of my farm tank. I could be Sticky Wicket, and your superpower is gluing the bad guys to rocks and driftwood. I love it.
Wow.
As long as I can sparkle-tastic.
Okay, wait. I just had a movie quote for you. Let's see who gets this first. So what did you call this group? Fox Force 5. You know what movie that is? Don't repeat it. Fox Force 5. That was the name of the pilot. Fox Force 5. Who can get it? That's all I'm giving you. It's going to be a small quote. I'll get into more quotes if everybody's just not on their game tonight. I'm like, I don't know. It's too late. I can't figure this out. What kind of stupid quote is that? Taryn says, rescued a 74...
Pulp Fiction.
Oh, already? Who did it?
Yeah, Delta Charlie got it.
Boom. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's rolling in. Burns Aquatics.
Burns Aquatics, yeah.
All right.
JT, y'all got it.
Fox Force 5.
Asian Fox.
Yep. Hold on. Now I'm all messed up because, oh, there we go. Taryn says, rescued a 74-gallon cube. Oh, wow. That
I don't want
is...
it. Let me know. I'll drive over and get it.
74-gallon cube.
That would be amazing.
You got to let me know just in the comments section and you look for it. What's the dimensions on that thing? I'm really curious. So, all right, hold on. 74-gallon cube is got to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like a 30 by 30, maybe 30. Yeah, probably like a 30 by 30 by, I don't even know, 12 to 15 inches tall. How close am I? That's just my guess.
James Green has to go. Bye, James Green. Thanks for stopping by.
Glad you're here. So anyway, you rescued this amazing cube tank. It came with 9 angels, 2 cribs, 1 pleco, 1 yo-yo loach, 3 Siamese algae eaters, 1 glow tetra, 1 serpe, and 1 black tetra. Who's going to need a new home? Probably nobody. Obviously, the tetra situation is not ideal, but I say nobody right now. If you rescued the tank and the fish were doing fine, just leave them alone. Yes, the 9 angels, you might have to do something with them if they start to breed and they start to really go at one another, but that's the thing, the immediate thing that I would keep an eye on. The cribs are going to be awesome. Even if you got a pair, they're probably going to try to breed in there, but it's not going to matter because your tetras there, even though there's only one of them, they'll pick them off slowly but surely. That's just what they do. They're going to see little tiny things floating around. It's fish food for them. Yeah, obviously it's not ideal that you've only got 1 glow light, 1 serpe, 1 black tetra, but it's not like you set it up that way. But keep them, right? I mean, if it's working out right now, I don't see why they're going to be an issue with the stocking. The 3 Siamese algae eaters are great if they are really Siamese algae eaters and not the flying fox. Because the nice thing about the true Siamese algae eaters is they do eat, have been known to sometimes munch on blackbeard, the dreaded blackbeard algae. I love those fish. We have a couple of them. Had them. Gosh, they're getting old now, and they're bigger. They're probably close to 6 inches. They're great fish. Yo-yo loach is cool. The pleco, not well. What kind of pleco? If it's a standard, that one's going to have to go. Sooner the better, because if it's a standard pleco and it's still, like say, less than 7 or 8 inches, you might be able to dump it off on a pet store and be like, here, can you just take this thing? It's a much, much harder deal to try to move a 12 or 14 or 16 inch common pleco. The places to do that are sometimes like the cichlid auctions where people are keeping large South and Central American cichlids where like the smaller algae type, or I shouldn't see algae eaters at that size, they're really not, but the smaller scavenger type fish are like, well, we can't do it. They're getting eaten, but you get a big 12 or 15 inch full size pleco maybe. But that one, If it's not a bristlenose or some kind of smaller pleco or like a fancy pleco, that one will probably have to go soon. Sooner the better. Keep an eye on the angels. I bet right now it looks pretty awesome, because if they're, not full grown and not really territorial yet, it's a pretty tank, I'm sure.
Two things.
24
by 24 by 30.
What did I say? 30? Oh, 24. Oh my gosh. So that 24 by 24 by 30, that's a tall tank. Tall. It's actually a column then at that point. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. All right. 24 by 24. So it's basically a standard 20 is 24 inches. So imagine if you had, for those of you who are like, what would that look like? Imagine you've got two standard 20s and they're stuck, the back and front are stuck together, and so now that's your cube, because that's your 24 roughly by 24, but then that would be about, so almost twice as tall. So that's pretty interesting. That's actually a pretty cool tank. So,
yeah.
I'm also curious how you filtering that thing then, if it's 30 inches tall, because a 30-inch tall tank is as tall as our 150.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So, in fact, it's basically half of our 150. Huh. So the standard 4-foot 150 that you find at Petco and PetSmart, it's basically that cut in half.
Yum.
Crazy.
All right, so here's a question. This is from Brislin76, first time fish keeper here.
Hey,
welcome.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Glad you're here.
I have a 40 breeder I plan to use. Thoughts on doing a cichlid 40 breeder as my first tank?
Some cichlids are not as difficult to keep as some people make them out to be. However, what can be difficult for someone who's never kept fish before is the potential for aggression. And so I have to be careful, because in my mind, what I want to say is, yeah, no problem. Keep some Mbuna in the 40-gallon breeder. We do it all the time, until some of the Mbuna go crazy and you're like, now what am I going to do? If it were me, for a beginner, would cichlids be the thing I jump into, just because I'm thinking about your long-term enjoyment in the hobby and the fact that you're doing this. Most people get into fish keeping because they want it to be fun, maybe a little bit relaxing. They want to enjoy the thing. And watching a bunch of fish chase each other around is sometimes not relaxing, fun, or enjoyable unless you have a full understanding of what they're doing, why they're doing it, and the difference between chasing each other around and outright trying to destroy one another. So because of that, I would say maybe the cichlid thing as a first tank might not be the best. There are some more peaceful cichlids out there, like the keyhole cichlids are really peaceful. Curviceps are really peaceful. I find the crebensis to be a very peaceful cichlid. For the most part, rams in a 40-gallon breeder are going to be relatively peaceful, but even those fish, when and if they start to breed, you're going to start to see some aggression. If you kept multiples together, they can be a little bit territorial, especially when they're around the same size. So those, in my opinion, those are some of the more peaceful cichlids, I would say, is our rams, crebensis, keyhole cichlids, curviceps. Anything else that comes to mind in terms of like the most docile? Electric blue acara I find to be very peaceful. Yeah, those are.
And angels are what size tank?
40 breeders. Oh. So I don't know if I'd keep multiples in a 40 breeder, multiple angels, but yeah, those are probably the ones that are going to be the easiest. However, again, that being said, I might not do cichlids right away. I might take that 40 breeder and build out a pretty awesome community tank just for now. Get your bearings straight, learn about the nitrogen cycle and what it means to have a tank that's fully cycled and proper water parameters, see where those things are, because a lot of the fish that I just talked about, some of them don't do well if you get an ammonia spike, or especially like the rams, you get any kind of ammonia or nitrite spike or high nitrates, they're like, oh, water's bad, blah, right there, or the water parameters just aren't conducive to their overall well-being, especially the German blues and stuff. Temperatures are another thing to consider with the German blue rams. So if it were me and I had a brand new 40 and I was brand new to fish keeping, I might try, once the tank is cycled and we go through that process, I would slowly start to think about, well, maybe what we do is we add some cory cats, right? Maybe 8 or 10 of those, and we get some more friendly type fish. Like I don't know, platies, guppies, endlers, something that's going to give you a little bit of action, tons of color, a little bit of excitement, but they're going to be easy on one another. I might look at some easier Tetras. And so, at least for us, I find the black neon Tetras to be very easy to keep. I know you like the greens. I'm just going to say it for you, right?
I like them a little.
Yeah, some of the Rasboras I find are really easy to keep, like the Brilliant Green Rasboras, the Pork Chop Rasboras. So I would look at more of the community stuff just so you get some experience. And see how that goes. And then because what you can do is in that kind of a mix, you could later on be like, oh, I really do like Crebensis, and the Crebensis could potentially go in that kind of a setup. But maybe not start with them. Let's see here. Hancho says, is my 20-gallon planted tank overstocked? 11 Cardinal Tetras, 6 Endlers, 8 Cories, and 5 Cherry Shrimp. No, I don't think so. 11. So you got a 20-gallon with 11 Cardinals, 6 Endlers, 8 Sturbys, 5 Cherries. No, I don't think that's overstocked. I don't know if I'd go crazy and add a bunch more stuff, but I think for the most part you're fine. I don't think you're gonna, with the Cherry Shrimp, I wouldn't expect to see a ton of babies because your Cory cats will love the shrimplets if they can find them in the substrate, and your Cardinal Tetras will definitely pick them off if they find them anywhere else. So will the Endlers. But as far as what you've got there, looks pretty cool. Can't say I see anything crazy about that, but it's a cool tank. All right, what you got here? You got something? Or are you just typing away? Are you not leaving more chats in the chat, are you, while you're sitting here?
No, I'm not.
Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades, that was a song. And I was also thinking of Ace of Base. Was it Ace of Base?
That was a group.
Well, that was a group, but Ace of Spades is a song as well.
You say so. I don't know what.
Motorhead. Yeah, you do. You listen to Motorhead all the time. Don't let her kid you. I walk in the bedroom and she's at work and she's like jamming to Motorhead. It's the Ace of Spades. And you had like the microphone way up here. I remember that guy.
That would be Christmas music
giant Ace of Spades is Christmas music?
I'm just saying right now it's Christmas music
that song's
time.
Not Christmas music. I don't even know if that's any kind of a holiday.
24/7.
Anyway, what light recommendations do you have? I'm a beginner to plants, just looking to plant some low to medium light plants. Well, Ace of Spades, it depends. It depends on tank size. It depends on how deep the tank is, and it depends on your budget. So I did an entire video basically like a beginner's guide to aquarium lights. So you can just go to the channel and type in aquarium light beginner guide, or I don't remember how I worded it. I don't remember the title. In Primetime Aquatics, it'll pop up. But I basically went through that video and I looked at different price points. And so we went from the lights that are less expensive, like the Beamswork lights and the Night Crew lights, maybe something like that. Those are very bright. And they're going to definitely give you enough light for your low to medium light plants, and they're cheap. I really like the Haiger lights on the lower side in terms of money, because I really love the spectrum of light. I just think that light for the price point, when we're looking at those lower price lights, it makes the tanks look really, really nice. When you start getting into the medium lights in terms of price point, now you're looking at like the Phoenix Stingray 2s. What else on that medium side? Maybe some of the lower end, like the Fluval Aqua Sky. Those are also pretty good lights. They're going to give you about the same amount of light, maybe slightly more features. Those are all going to be good. Once you start getting more experience or more plants, or your tanks are deeper, you can get into more features. So you got like the Fluval 3.0s. Those things are like crazy, but you're going to pay. You're going to pay for those because they've got all kinds of features. I've got apps. So with the Fluval 3.0s that I have an app where I can adjust the brightness. I can adjust the light spectrum. You can do all kinds of things with those lights just from your phone. But they are they're a lot more money. And then you go, what I like to call crazy expensive. We have one tank of Kessel lights on our 75 gallon. Now those lights, a lot of times people want, hey, how can I get that shimmering effect in a fish tank? Those take some pretty high end lights, and the Kessel lights that we have 2 of them over a 75 gallon. And if you were to try to replicate that lighting system on a 4-foot tank, it's going to cost you north of $750 for
How much
those.
would it be to illuminate like that? Really sweet, a small tank. Say like a
about half because because you're still probably looking at $200 to $300 just to illuminate because of one of those things. Plus, because we get the controller, you get all this stuff that you had to put with it, and they add up in a hurry. But you will see where your money goes once you put those next to another tank for sure. But not most people don't need that, so it's a moot point. Alice B. Could I add 6 Cory cats to a 55-gallon with 5 angels and 4 mollies and 5 swordtails and a bristlenose? Yeah, most likely. I would think so. I wouldn't hesitate to do it. Those fish that you have in there are probably just going to ignore. Maybe they might be like kind of curious at first, like, hey, what are you doing? What are you? What's going on here? But for the most part, that's Cory cats pretty much, they just kind of do their thing. Killer Kitty Oi, thank you so much for the kitty cat. Little fist bumping kitty cat. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right, let's see here. We're only one away at Dave from Iowa. One away from Iowa. It must have been 200 because now we're at 202. People were kicking the like button right in the face.
Nice.
That was very violent. I'm sorry. So violent. All right, let's see. What do you got over there?
Jay Swerved wants to know, what do you think is the cheapest racking system you can put together?
Well, that depends on how much work you want to put into it.
Yeah.
There's basically there's a few ways you can go. Okay. Dylan says, gotta love Lemmy. I don't think anybody, loved Lemmy. Isn't he no longer with us? Racking systems. The cheapest way, the absolute cheapest way to go is cinder blocks and 2x4s. So your cinder block / 2x4s, if you have just the regular cinder blocks stacked on their sides, you stack those up, run 2x4s across. I believe, it's been a while since I've measured those, but I think a cinder block is at least, like 20 inches or so, maybe not quite that. I don't remember, but
I don't know.
So those things, and if you wanted to put a cinder block in the center, stack them up in the center, you can easily put 55s, if not more, 55 gallons on those things. But that's the easiest way to go. Obviously, you've got to deal with the looks, right? Do you want cinder blocks and 2x4s as your stands? If you don't care and you're like, you know what, I'm just trying to build out a little area that's going to be for breeding. It's not going to be some thing where I'm going to be down there looking at my artistic fish gallery. Cinder blocks and 2x4s. If you don't like that look, then the next option at these days, because lumber has gotten kind of expensive, although I think the prices have come down a little bit. I think it's come down a little bit. Has it?
Yeah.
You could build your own. We've done videos on how to build stands. I've used a 75. I've done a 75-gallon. I actually have done a lot. If you were to, I regret the way I did the early videos when we were building out walls in the fish room, because in almost every one of those videos when I built out a wall, I actually show, okay, here's the stand that I'm building, and here's I show the dimensions and how I built it. So if you were to go back into those early videos like, hey, we just added 20-gallon longs, or we just added all these tanks, I usually reference how I built the stands. But I know of 2 videos for sure that are easy to find. That is, I did a video on how to build a double 75-gallon stand out of wood, and then also a 125 double stand. Same basic layout, just maybe different types of wood. 2x4s for the, actually 2x6s for the 75s on the cross members, and then on the supports. And I think I might have used 2x8s at least on the top of the 125s. That can be a cost-effective thing to do, but it takes time to build those stands if you're going to paint them. The other way to do it, and I think right now it would almost be a wash, and that is you go to a place like Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards, and you get those very heavy-duty industrial-type stands that they sell that each shelf can hold, like, hey, this thing holds 2,000 pounds. Well, great. That means you can throw a 180-gallon tank on there, and you're most likely going to be fine, as long as the stand is wide enough and long enough. You might have to put some plywood over like the metal grating that's, that they usually have for each shelf. But nowadays, I would definitely look at that option. Go to Home Depot, go to Menards, go to Lowe's, make sure that they're basically like the industrial type stands, but they're on a smaller scale, like the racking systems. We have used more lighter duty ones, and we did a video on, it was your nano wall, where the stands that we use there, They took like all of about 5 minutes to put together, and those shelves will each hold 300 pounds. And we've got 20 longs on those things. They're fine. I mean, they're not going anywhere. So look for that video. I don't remember how that one was titled, but it was basically like a cheap aquarium stand that we got at, I think it was like Lowe's. Those are all options for the less expensive stuff. Once you start going to, hey, let me go, it almost, I don't know why at this point anybody would walk into a fish store and be like, okay, I need that iron 20-gallon double stand. One, because the bottom tank is going to be sitting 3 inches off the floor, so good luck cleaning it and watching it. And two, that thing is going to cost way more than if you just went to Lowe's, Home Depot, or Menards and got the industrial racking. What's so funny? So I hope that helps.
There have been a couple questions. What's the big news? But Finn clued him in that we're having another baby.
Oh, gee. Gosh, I don't know about that. That is certainly not something like, hey, look at us. We're a little long in the tooth to be having more kids here.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine telling the boys?
Yeah, you're having a brother. Well, we got built-in almost adult babysitters. That'll be fun.
Cool.
Like here, they have a sit down with us. Mom, Dad, I really feel like we're raising this kid. Well,
you are.
You are.
We're busy with the fish room now.
That's
okay?
right. We're paying you $10 an hour as a babysitter, 24/7.
You guys have really been slacking in that fish room lately.
I'm not gonna lie. When we're around, and even I do this as I look at people who have young kids, and I'm like, oh man, I do miss it. I do miss when the kids were young.
They're
I mean,
so
I really do miss it. But
so
I also am realistic, and I know that I don't think I have what it takes anymore.
No.
To deal with the 0-year-old to 12 or 13-year-old. I don't know if I can do it again. So we do what most people do at our age, and we just wish that our kids would, get a little older and find a wonderful person to settle down with and have grandkids. I think that's why grandparents love it so much. Like, I'd really love to have I'd love to have kids, but I don't think I can do this 24/7. I'll just borrow yours every once in a while and spoil them and give them back. Yeah, it really is. I never understood that, but now I get it. Now I get it. But yeah, we're...
Anyways, what's the big news?
We don't have any big news according to you. The big news, if you go back, you watch the beginning of the stream, I won't repeat the entire thing, but the big news is we have a very large fish YouTube collaboration starting this weekend where both on this channel, at least initially on our channel, Primetime Aquatics, and KG Tropicals, we're going to be putting out some videos starting this week that involve a number of YouTubers. It's a giant group we're going to be answering some frequently asked questions, but you're going to be getting those answers not from just one person who's got one channel, but from potentially, I don't know, it depends on how many people are in the video, 8, 10, 12 different people on YouTube who come from a variety of backgrounds. We're going to be able to answer those questions, and we've got a number of videos coming out over the next couple, 2-3 months that I think are going to be pretty awesome. So that's the Cliff Notes version of the whole thing. Dave from Iowa has been a member for 9 months.
Dave.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so fun meeting you.
That's awesome. Heck
yeah. Chicago. Yay.
Joanna, what do you think about 1.75 pint tank with a sump?
With a sump?
1.7 pint?
Little guy.
How much is a pint?
Oh, gosh.
You mean that? Hold on. You mean they got them in pints? What's that? It's a pint. You mean they have them in pints? Movie. Come on. We did so good with the other one. That is not a popular quote from the movie. So if you get it, I know that you're a fan of the movie.
I have a gas button. Okay.
Don't say it.
I never do.
Yep.
All right.
One more time, because I just like to repeat myself. What's that? It's a pint. They sell them in pints? All right, let's see who gets it. All right, Joanna, what do you think about a 1.7? How big is a pint? That's not very big.
Oh, that's a fraction of a gallon.
Oh, wait. Is that the 0.25 gallon? If you're up for a challenge, I will send you one. I got it at my local fish club meeting.
Oh,
Dave, I think...
It probably would be because it's like, what, like a 1/10 of a gallon, 1/8 of a gallon, something up for 1 pint. So, yeah, it might be.
I think that... So, we have it on Primetime Aquatics. If you go back, I think it was like the smallest... You won't believe the size of this. I don't know why I remember all my video titles from like 3 years ago. It's really... I'm using brain space that I can't afford to use to remember things that I don't need to remember.
Yeah, I know.
And it's scary because it's pushing out stuff I should probably remember. Like why I walked into a room a half hour ago. But anyway, we did a video called like You Won't Believe the Size of This Tank, and it was a point. I'm gonna ruin the suspense. So it was a 0.25 gallon that we actually got from Flip Aquatics, and it did. It had the sump. It had the sump underneath. So I bet you that's the same one that we did. And she aquascaped it and did a really good job with it.
It's really adorable little tank.
So yes,
really adorable.
She's accepted that challenge and overcame the challenge, I guess.
I had a micro tie crab in there that was really great at hiding in a very tiny tank.
Yeah, you had a few of them in there.
2.
Yeah.
There were 2. They were Jeff Fleet from London. It's the first time. It's one of my London peeps. It's the first time he's watched one live. And
it's late there.
No, it's like 3 a.m.
Well, what do you mean no? I just said it was late there.
Well, late. It's really kind of early.
It's early late. Glad you're here. That's cool. Just always commenting on video. That's pretty cool that you're here hanging with us.
Yay.
Insomnia. All right, hold on. Did anybody get Lord of the Rings all over the place? Boom. Who was the first one? Wolfden Aquatics, maybe? Lord of the Rings, and then a whole bunch of people. Boom. That's right.
Oh, Marlin, Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fellowship, man. And we're getting even, I could probably if left to my own devices and nobody was telling me that I couldn't watch a certain movie, I could probably watch the entire Lord of the Rings series like monthly. When I say Lord of the Rings, I will include The Hobbit in that too, because unlike Star Wars, where they went back and did a bunch of movies after the original, and most of them were pretty bad. Lord of the Rings, when they did the Hobbit movies, I thought they were pretty good and they flowed fairly well. So, but yeah. Midoriya, thank you so much for the super chat. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, you can phonetically correct me down in the comments section below. Hey guys, my community fish nip at food and pleco when eating wafers. Any other ways to get algae to the pleco? I have a solution for you. After the lights go off, put the algae wafers in for the plecos. So that is the best way to get food to your plecos, is feed them after the lights go off, because they're going to scavenge all night long. Same thing, by the way, with mystery snails. So if you ever have a problem where your mystery snails aren't getting food, your plecos aren't getting food, some catfish, depending on what types they are, wait for the lights to go off, wait for the lights in the room to go off, drop that bad boy in there, and most likely in the morning you will not see it, because you'll be like, oh, thank you, full belly. So that's how I solved that issue. And I saw ABC Aquatic Biotope Creations. Thank you for the super chat. Any plant recommendations for a 73-gallon custom-built native stream tank? Currently have the Americana, and lighting is 100% natural sunlight, no CO2. Well, natural sunlight is pretty stinking cool. I am not good with the North American plants, like a native stream tank. I don't know what grows. I don't know the names of the plants because we're always keeping tropical type fish. I guess, but do you want to keep it native stream, right? I'm sure you want to keep, if you just want plants, I mean, all of the plants that you would get at a pet store are going to grow at temperatures in the upper 60s, low 70s for sure. So if it's just plants, then you pick it. You can pretty much do it, especially with natural sunlight. But in terms of, I wish I had a great answer for you, but I don't know. Do you know natural plants?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't really go into that. Not yet.
We're lame that way. I'm sorry. I don't have a better answer for you.
A lot of like valves and crypts would look really cool in that type of a biotope look.
Yeah, it would. Killer Kitty 08 member for 4 months. Yay. That's cool. Thanks for being here. Bird Garden. Wait, what does that say? Oh, Bird Garden is doing a
Marsscape. Cool.
And asked, do consider that fish and plants could coexist with the rock formation if you have any ideas. Neat idea. Bird Garden is doing a Mars. So Mars.
Consider that fish and plants could coexist with the rock formations. Well, what kind of rock would you be using?
If it's Mars, wouldn't you use the stuff that you just used today in your scape?
Is Mars like a
Mars is like
tone?
Mars is like
really?
a reddish, brownish, orangey.
Oh, you could use Dragonstone.
Yeah.
But, well.
Dragonstone, and then you know what you could use for the substrate is that stuff that you got that you haven't used yet, that red stuff. What is that?
Yeah.
I don't remember what. There's a red. It's not like a crayon red. It's like a almost like an
rust.
iron, like a rust colored red. That would be perfect.
That's really cool.
I just don't remember what it's called, so it's completely an unhelpful comment, but you get the idea. So the question is, fish and plants that could coexist with the rock formations, I would just stay away. It depends on the size of the tank. I would stay away from long flowing stuff. If you're going to use like the dragonstone, sharp edges kind of thing, like that's probably not a great thing for them. Long fin guppies might not be the best. Veil tail angels might get a little bit torn up. But plants, I mean, I don't think the plants matter. You can do whatever you feel like you can grow in terms of plants. But it just depends if the rocks are sharp or not, and the size of the tank. We'd have to know the size of the tank to probably better answer that question. I think, at least I would.
Yeah.
All right, let me see here.
That sounds cool.
It does sound cool. Delta Charlie, have you ever heard your sparkling gouramis chirping? Have you heard them? I thought you said you did. I think I did at one point.
What? Oh, I never did.
I think I was standing by your 12 and I heard them. Didn't I tell you that?
You may have, but I never heard it myself.
Yeah, I think I did.
I'm so bummed.
Part of the problem is in our fish room it's kind of noisy. Yeah. So I mean we've got the air pump running down there. We've got all the sponge filters running. We've got a bunch of hang-on backs, and some of them now are getting like old to the point where they're 13, 14, 15 years old, and so you get some of those old Marineland, like the old Marineland penguins that are running, and it's like, yeah, they're still moving water, running like a champ, but if you don't get that intake situated perfectly awesome after you restart and get everything going, it's like rah, 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 the whole time, like, all right, we got to get this thing fixed. But they're still kicking after 12, 13, 15 years, whatever it is. But it gets a little noisy. So hearing the little chirpy guys, that is one thing I loved about LRB's fish room. It was a complete zen situation like I've never experienced in my life. When we were there, it was completely quiet because almost all of his tanks are unfiltered, and he's not even running air in them anymore. They're the, oh my gosh, the fish just behave so differently in tanks like that.
They're so chilled out.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, it was very, very relaxing to just sit there and watch those fish. I'd like to go back there again. Lucas, I'm coming over. So I don't know when, but I'll let you know when I'm on the road. Yeah, I'm just going to show up at the doorstep like, hey, I just need to sit here on the floor and watch your fish. You can work around me. Okay, let's see here. Finway goes, are there any plants on Mars? No, but there's a rover. Got to put a rover in there. Probably like a bunch of aliens. You need some aliens in there. You never know. All right, let's see. Jeffro, I ain't seen you around in a minute. Jeffro's here. That's cool.
Yay.
Glad you're here.
Welcome.
You can attach Anubius to rocks. Yes, you can. Use lava rock. Yeah. But again, with the lava rock, you just got to be careful because that stuff is abrasive. It is abrasive. No fish that you want, as long as they're not scraping up. Mary Page Flynn. Hello, everyone. I've been listening in and lurking. Busy household tonight.
Mary Page.
Busy household. That's cool.
We're
Glad you're here.
Hi, Mary Page. Hi.
All right, what else here?
Polyfox said, we sadly lost our beloved butterfly koi Sam this morning.
Oh, no.
How do I get back into this hobby? Oh.
That stinks.
I'm
sorry.
Stink. I hate that.
Yeah. Losing fish.
Sorry.
Not a good thing. I'm sorry.
He's just swimming somewhere else right now. Very happy.
Yep. Jay Swerved, how do Geophagus do with Oscars? Also, what top dweller do you recommend for a 125 with my 2 Oscars? They are currently juvenile. Well, that's cool at the juvenile because that's going to increase your chances of the stuff working out. There is a couple options you can do. I have kept my Oscars with Geophagus steindachnerii. The steindachnerii are a little bit more assertive than most Geophagus. I don't find Oscars to be particularly aggressive, though. I think the misunderstanding, and yes, some people have had aggressive Oscars. There's no doubt about that. And you get a couple males that are vying for a little bit of territory, and sometimes they can be a little aggressive towards one another. But generally speaking, every Oscar that I've kept has never gone out of its way to, I don't know, be the absolute dominant fish in the tank to the point where they were terrorizing other fish. Not saying that can't happen. I'm just saying it didn't happen for us. Therefore, I think most Geophagus do fairly well. So Like I said, I've done it with the Steindachnerai. I've done, what else has been in there? I think at one point I had Oscars mixed with Geophagus brasiliensis. Both of those I would say are two of the more aggressive types of Geophagus. I probably wouldn't hesitate keeping them with some of the larger Geophagus like the Altafrons, Cyrenamensis type Geophagus. Geophagus tapajos, they get around 5 inches or so, 6 inches. So that could potentially work. I don't think I would have any severe recommendations against it. But again, you're dealing with cichlids. And sometimes they get territorial and sometimes it doesn't work. So when you're attempting to mix cichlids together, I always try to make sure I have a backup plan. And those Geophagus, if you're going to buy them at the store, they get pretty expensive. So you just got to be aware, okay, what am I going to do if this doesn't work? In terms of what top dweller do you recommend in a 125, there's a few different ways you can go. I do like silver dollars with Oscars in a 125. You can do 6 or 8 of those. I do also like, you said your Oscars are juvenile right now, so you've got like the Denison barb, also known as the roseline shark. Those are really pretty. So if you haven't seen those, they get a red stripe, they get a little bit of green. I like those a lot. Those could work well with an Oscar. You could potentially do some type of larger barb, like the filamentosus barb, the mascara barb. Both of those are so pretty, so pretty. What else? I definitely want to stay larger though on all of those. I would not. Here's the things I would not do. And these are commonly kept together, and it's not because they can't be. It's because of the tank size. Ballast sharks and tinfoil barbs. If you had a tank that was 3 times that size, those would be really good options as well. But we're dealing with a 125, and I don't think a 125 is big enough for ballast sharks and tinfoil barbs when they should be kept in large groups, and they can get over a foot long. So I wouldn't do those. Trying to think of anything else that comes to mind with Oscars in terms of like shoaling, or schooling fish, but I think those are definitely ones I look at. So filamentosus, the mascara barbs, Denison barbs / roseline shark, silver dollars are things to think about. What you got?
All right, so Marlon wants to know, can I float my Anubius to grow its roots? It has almost no roots. Also, can I have a pea puffer and a nearite snail in a 5-gallon? I would say you can have a pea puffer, but not a snail, not a nearite snail.
I wouldn't take the chance.
Yeah, you might be nipping at them.
Yep.
I know mine would. Can you float your Anubius to grow its roots? You can. I don't think the roots will grow any faster floating than it would if you were to attach it somewhere down below. And the other thing is that when the leaves come in, they're going to grow all wonky.
Yep. That is one of the things that I hear about all the time, because she'll sometimes throw the plants in some tanks into our snail breeding tank, and what they were doing, because it was heavily stocked, is they were cleaning off all the plants, even the blackbeard algae. You get enough hungry mystery snails and they will take the blackbeard algae right off of the leaves and stuff. But yeah, then she'd float it, and then a month later she pulls the thing out and it's all gnarly. She's like, what am I supposed to do with this? I can't use this for an aquascape. It looks horrible. I'm like, I don't know. And then I think you then eventually started kind of jamming them in between rocks just so they would
and you can divide them by the rhizome and stuff. Yeah.
So they wouldn't be playing the fool over there looking all weird. So, yeah. But you're right. I mean, you could just glue them now or tie them to something, and at least that way the leaves will still grow properly and the roots will return back to normal. Chopper Carson, any recommendations on what to avoid with the long 12-gallon tank?
Wait. Can I add something though while I'm on the thought though? If you're saying it doesn't have a lot of roots, what you can do along the rhizome, if you have some space, you can make little notches. Just make little cuts, because when you kind of damage the rhizome like that, it'll be encouraged to grow out roots or leaves. So you could also do that. Continue. Yep,
for sure. Cats Aquatics is here. Glad you're here. Hope everything's going well. You should be at the OCA with a booth, but if not, we'll see you hopefully in Orlando, and you can check out all the cool stuff. I'm interested to see what kind of cool stuff you bring to Orlando. Anyway, Chopper Carson, any recommendations on what to avoid with the long 12-gallon tank? In terms of what? Stocking or plants or just generally speaking? 12-gallon long is a cool tank. You do have to deal with the fact that it is long and it's narrow and it's not very tall. So you have to put some thought into how you're going to do the filtration. We've traditionally used 2 sponge filters. She hates that. I don't mind it. But if you're not using sponge filters, you do have some challenges when it comes to the types of filtration, because most of the filters, the intakes are going to be too long and they're going to hit the bottom. You could, I think, if I were using a hang-on backs there, I might actually run at least a couple, 2 or 3 of the Forza 5 to 15s, because I think that intake is short enough. Right? It would be short enough to be able to run in a 12 long, right? But you'd need a couple of them. But you'd need a couple filters anyway, because that 12 long is like 30-something inches long. So you have to also consider the fact that if you're going to, you're going to need some kind of a lid, right? And they don't sell lids that are 30-something, 30-odd inches long and only, how wide is that tank? Like 5 or 6 inches wide? Like front to back?
I would say more
6
like
or 7.
Yeah, maybe like 7.
So you might want to consider using a piece of greenhouse siding, like the polycarbonate, as a lid if you're going to be not having stuff extend from the top of the tank, just to keep down on potential jumpers and water evaporation. So yeah, that's the story with that thing. All right, what else we got here? I'm scrolling around. Looking at the thing. Ooh, I just saw a whole bunch of stuff come through. Polly Fox, thank you at Primetime Aquatics for your compassion. Well, thanks for being here. Adam Brown, hi guys, love the stream. What would you recommend to go with Odessa Barbs, 15 all male and a planted 75? Odessa Barbs are cool. Well, nothing long fin, right? I mean, you just never know what the barbs, Odessa Barbs included, what they're going to do. So I'd stay away from the Angels. I'd stay away from bettas, not that you're going to put those in a 75 gallon, but let's see, 75. Are you looking for maybe some kind of a centerpiece thing, like some cichlids? Maybe you do some, let's see here. I don't know if it's planted or not. Oh, it is planted in a planted 75. So that changes things. I was going to say electric blue acara, but that would say bye-bye to most of your plants. What would I do in a 75 planted tank with 15 all male Odessa Barbs? I would probably do some type of cichlid, maybe some type of ram, depending on your water parameters. Either, if you got softer water and the temperatures are a little bit higher, you got the whole German blue thing, you got the Bolivian rams. I mentioned crebensis earlier. Those can be really pretty, especially the albinos. They can really stand out in a planted tank. And when they get older and the females get that pink/reddish purple underbelly with the albino sort of look, and the males get the iridescence in their dorsal fin, they really do stand out. So in a 75 gallon, I could see myself doing 4 or 6 of those. What else would I do if I were doing a 75 gallon with the Odessa Barbs? You could look at, we talked about curviceps and keyhole cichlids earlier if you wanted to do something like that. Something with personality, right? You could do a whole mess load of Cory cats. Pick your favorite. The Aldolfi, the orange laser are really cool. I have a video coming out next week with a different type of Cory that I had never seen before that I thought was pretty interesting, the ones we saw at Aquashella. So they're part of a video for next week. You probably won't be able to find them, but there's so many. The point is there's a lot of cool looking Cory cat type stuff, Cory cats out there. You could also do, if you want to do some loaches, like maybe some of the tiger botia type loaches, right? Or the striated loaches. Those are pretty neat. Yeah, because you already got like the schooling fish. You're really just looking for, I would do some long fin bristlenose in there. Either the long fin green dragons or the long fin super reds, or the long fin blue eye albinos. Maybe those blue eye albinos, the long fins would stand out the most in a heavily planted 75.
Have you ever had long fin super reds?
No.
You should get some.
I know I should, because I really like them. They look awesome, but I haven't done them. All right, we'll answer a couple more, and then we'll call it a night because it's getting close to the time.
All right, I got one here. John Smith. Hello, I am a beginner and planning on getting my first 10-gallon tank. How exciting.
That's cool.
Welcome, yay. I definitely want to include a betta, but I'm wondering what other fish I can include. Pygmy cories, tetras, both?
In a 10-gallon?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably do the pygmy cories. Here's the trick that I would consider. Add the betta last. So when you do your 10-gallon, after it gets all cycled and everything, If you want to add in your 6 to 8 pygmy cory cats, and maybe you're like, okay, I'd like to do, like we had a betta in with some ember tetras and gold tetras, that worked out just fine.
Embers can be a little nippy sometimes.
Feed them properly, and that situation usually resolves itself. We've done glow light tetras. We've done
white clouds.
Yeah, we've done white clouds before. So get those fish in the community first. So if you're going to do like maybe 6 to 8 pygmies, you might do 6 to 8 of one of the tetras, then add the betta. And I think that will give you the highest probability of success. M&C Aquatics, what are you feeding your frontosa? The frontosa we have in the 150 is getting what everybody else gets. Usually that tank gets a mix of a couple of things. It's getting the North Fin community and or cichlid flakes, depending on whatever we pull out of the freezer and whatever's being fed that day. So it's getting those. I also like to throw in a lot of the North Fin sinking pellets. So we've got a community and a cichlid sinking pellet that they are eating, and he really loves those things. He goes crazy for those. We will do frozen bloodworms in that tank once in a while, not every day, but definitely that gets in there too. What else goes in there? What else are we feeding in that tank? Frozen brine shrimp is another one. So that's mostly what we feed, I think.
All right, Alice has a question. Small scape.
Okay.
Can I have a group of small tetra with 10 shrimp in a 5-gallon? Similar to mine. The tank I just scaped. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're gonna want small ones, like the dwarf emerald rasboras. Little rasboras are really fun. Mira rasbora, chili rasboras.
Exclamation point.
Yeah. And then or ember tetras. They're very small. Did I leave anything out?
Yeah, I would mostly stay with did you say
the Heterania formosa?
Yeah.
I love to put Heterania formosa with shrimp.
Also known as the Florida least killifish. Did you talk about the Galaxy rasbora? Did you mention those? Otherwise known as the
CPD?
Yeah, Celestial Pearl Daniel. That might
in
be
a 5?
another one. Yeah, not very big. They're tiny.
They're bigger than the others.
Not
yeah,
really.
they might be okay.
They don't get as big as the embers, at least in terms of length. Little chubbier, but that's
true. That is true. Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Whoops, we're a long-time listener, first-time commenter. Yes, you are. I was wondering if, as keepers of over 80 tanks, what do you use to clean the glass? All of a sudden, I'm scratching my glass like crazy. Well, trust me, we've done that a few times too. The boys are the ones who clean the glass. Wait, hold on. Here's another one. I got one more movie quote, and then I'm going to be done for the day. Karl, schießen finster. Don't say anything. That's the quote. Let's see who's got their movie quote game on now. One more time. Karl, schießen finster. Shoot the glass. Let's see who's got it. All right. Anyway, the glass scratching situation. Let's see. What are we using? We've got a couple things. So we've got the extendable algae scraper that's got like the piece of metal on the end, which I find works for about, 50% of the algae types, and for about 3 weeks before it gets bent, and then it's completely pointless. So in that case, we switch to straight up razor blades. The key there is obviously you got to be really careful. Take your time. Oh, Die Hard, boom. Tyler can't wait. No, hold on. Dave, Zach, even JC's first. Yeah, we got a bunch of people. Die Hard, duh. I know.
Although Whips World got it wrong. He actually said Durhard.
Well, yeah, you're totally wrong. So I'm not going to answer your question now. But anyway, razor blades, you got the plastic ones that work. You did a video about plastic razor blades. That might be a little bit safer for us people who are like, hey, look at that. Oh my gosh, what happened to my finger?
But you can still trap a nice piece of sand.
The key is, the key for us is taking your time. Hans Gruber, yes. Yep. Hans Gruber. Do you know, as a side note, I think I'm getting tired because I'm just interrupting myself. Here's a side note. I had a dog. We got this dog, not you and I, but way back in the day, I got this dog when I lived in Indianapolis. And it was supposed to be a Weimaraner mix. That's what they told us. It wound up not. It wound up being a pit bull mixed with a chow, but just to get rid of this dog. You're like, it's a Weimaraner mix. He was really pretty. He had really pretty bright brown eyes. And anyway, because we thought it was a Weimaraner mix, I named this dog Simon. Simon Gruber, Hans Gruber's brother. Turned out, like I said, he was a pit bull chow mix. He was an absolute nutcase his entire life. And he was the fastest dog I'd ever seen in my life. One time he got out of the house. I'm not kidding you. I think this dog could run like 35 miles an hour. He ran down the street at, like if he would have hit somebody, he would have just knocked him out. He runs down the street. I'm like, great. He was one of those dogs, like just takes off. There's nothing I could do. I'm like, what am I going to do, chase him? The dog is like the fastest thing I've ever seen on 4 feet. He comes back around. This is only like 3 minutes later, limping. He like blew out a hamstring or something, or like threw out a hip. So he's coming back. He's like limping. I'm like, dude, what did you do? And he never was, like he always kind of had like a little bit of a limp.
He kind of had a little bit of a gimp.
Yeah, he blew out his hip. You know,
but he had great memories. He had great memories. You know, just
like running like the wind. His ears were flying back. Yeah. So anyway, when it comes to glass, you just got to be careful. There's nothing special. No matter what you use, if you trap anything in that scraper, it's going to scratch the glass. I've used everything. I've used the handheld scrapers. I've used the magnetic ones where, you know, those things work great for a little while until like all the felt stuff on the outside part of the magnet scraper thing starts to peel off. Now you're streaking glue across the front of your tanks. It's just about being careful. All right, we're going to do one more question. And I think that question is going to come from Work in Progress.
Oh, all right, Whips World says, shiny, let's be bad guys. Answer that one. Is that a quote? That is a quote, right?
I'm not even going to pretend I know that one. I don't know. You have to give me more. Anyway, Work in Progress. I have a 20-gallon high with a female betta, 13 neons, 1 albino longfin pleco. What might I add that's not a live bearer? Yeah, I wouldn't definitely not add live bears with the female betta. That sometimes they can not appreciate that. You got 13 neons in there and 1 longfin pleco. I might try to stay with the 13 neons. I might try to stay bottom. Maybe again you could do some kind of a loach, a smaller loach, like the tiger botia, or maybe you're doing some type of Cory cat, pygmy Corys maybe. With the betta, I would stay away from most, like you said, most of the live bears. I just wouldn't do any Gouramis because those guys will often fight, especially in a 20-gallon. So I might just try to stay with something like a Cory that's going to stay near the bottom. All right, let's see here. Link Master Spring Forever. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's a movie?
Yeah. If Gruber's brother doggy was running, was he going from spot to spot looking for the location of the bomb? Die Hard 3. Did you know, I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Die Hard 3 was actually supposed to be a Lethal Weapon and not a Die Hard movie, but they rejected the script. I heard that a long time ago. Could be totally false. Don't quote me on it, but it's something you can look up on the World Wide Web and see if it's true.
Here's a piece of trivia, and he refuses to accept it, but it's true.
It's not true.
It is true.
I know what you're going to say. It's not true. It is not.
Okay, these are not these are not reality shows. Christmas Vacation is not a reality show. It's a movie that takes place on a set.
No, it's not. It's on a street.
In California.
No, it's not. It's on
that
a street.
House next door where Todd, Todd and Margot live. That house is the Lethal Weapon house.
It is not. Those houses look.
I think I had that right.
No. Those houses look nothing alike, not on the inside, not on the outside.
Yeah, it's not like they would redecorate and just change things around. They can move frickin' trees.
They're going to move walls and staircases? No, I disagree. I'm sorry. I'm never going to believe that. But Oink Master Supreme Forever said, yeah, if the Gruber brother was, that was a thing. Oh, one more. Sarah, help with my mystery snails. I've been killing so many eggs. Well, generally what I do is nothing special. So they wind up laying their eggs just above the water line. Often they're laying their eggs on the under part of the lid. The thing there is just to make sure that they stay moist. So spray them down a few times a day, and make sure that your tank was well covered so that it's not losing moisture. The big thing is just making sure those things don't dry out. So there are videos out there. I haven't done one. You haven't done one. But there are videos out there on how to make a snail egg thing out of Tupperware. I think it was basically take the snail egg clutch, put it in Tupperware, cover it with like wet paper towels, but you have to do something special with the paper towels. I don't remember exactly. Poke holes in the top, float it, and then the whole thing hatches. But I've just been too lazy to even do that. Shannon, where can I find an address to send you those rocks I was telling you about at Aquashella? We love you guys. Oh my gosh. Send us a message. We'll on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll figure that situation out. Thank you. All right, everybody. I think we are going to call it a night because we are, my gosh, we're like 10 minutes past the thing.
Wow.
I hope you enjoyed the little time together. I know I did. This is our favorite time. Like I always say, you guys are the most awesome people on the face of this earth. Bar none. You're all the best. And if you're watching on replay, you still count. You're still the best. So we will be back. We're going to the OCA, like I said, this weekend, but we will be back next Wednesday, same time, same place. Answer your questions. Maybe we'll have another announcement. I don't know. But thanks for being here. Thank you for the moderators and all that you do, and for the super stickers and super chats and all the cool questions. I always say, write your questions down all week long. Get a little booklet, write them down, and bring them to the live streams.
Yay.
If we didn't get a chance to answer your question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, then you blabbered on too long.
Then I blabbered on too long. We'll see everybody next week. And good job on the movie quotes.
And next week is the day before Thanksgiving, so it should be extra fun and festive.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll plan something for it.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.